What current trend makes no sense to you?
70% of the antibiotics used in Ireland are used by farmers.
Yeah.
Now that's reckless use of antibiotics.
No, well, it's not reckless use of antibiotics.
It is.
It's very regulated, it's very controlled, and they're not used willy-nilly. They cost money, and there's withdrawal periods after use before any animals enter the food chain, and they're all adhered to, and there's cross-checks put in place on that.
But animal agriculture contributes to antimicrobial resistance.
It is highly regulated, and farmers are very aware of antimicrobial resistance and avoiding overuse or wrongful use of antibiotics.
I think Bill reacted to the question around antibiotics by defending farmers' rights to use antibiotics.
Still today, in 2022, 70% of the antibiotics in Ireland are used in agriculture.
Yeah, but that's a numbers thing. There's a lot of animals in the country, so of course they are.
There is.
And the weight of animals is much heavier than humans, so if you're using antibiotics on animals, pro rata, you're going to use more. We use them when there's an issue to deal with an issue.
Yeah, and a lot of the issues come because animals are in conditions that are so stressful.
I wouldn't agree with that at all, no.
Well, I mean, you know how chickens are raised in Ireland.
You could say the same about people. People go into hospitals and they get MRSA and there's an issue.
Yeah.
And you can say it's stressful conditions, but if I put a cow in a shed and she's comfortable and everything in the shed, she can still get a virus or an issue. We've seen that with the coronavirus. You can get issues and they have to be controlled somehow or other. But obviously, antibiotics don't treat a virus, but you get your follow-on infections.
Chickens live for 42 days before they're slaughtered, and they just have an A4 page of space for their life. I think that's quite different to humans in hospitals.
Chickens get a space of an A4 sheet of paper. That's how much space they have in the chicken sheds in Ireland.
And how much space should they get? Would you be happy eating them if they had more space?
I don't
Would you be
eat them.
happy with them being produced with more space?
I don't believe that chickens should. I don't think we need chickens.
Then it doesn't really matter how much space we give to chickens. You're not going to be happy with us keeping chickens anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
So I suppose from my point of view, I'm very happy for you to be vegan, and I'm a farmer, so if there's enough demand, I'll produce whatever food I need to produce. You're not happy with me or my community living and producing food the way that we do. You want to change us. You want to change the way we eat, and you want to change the way we farm. If it goes to cult level where you're trying to convert other people to your way of thinking, I'm not in favour of that. I mean, if somebody wants to be vegan, that's fine. I don't try to bring them back to an omnivore diet. I don't see why they should be trying to convert me over to their way of thinking. It's going to end up with less farmers on the ground, less families on the ground, and rural communities that are decimated. So are you a vegan because you don't want animals to be used for food production, or is it down to the environmental side?
First and foremost, veganism is a social justice ethical issue.
Social justice?
Yeah, because it recognises that other animals are sentient.
Okay, so that's the animal part of it.
Yeah.
But you've been making a lot of points on the environmental side.
Yeah, because the
Are
arguments...
you fully happy with the production system and the provenance of your food?
Absolutely.
That you've eaten today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no pesticides, there's no chemical fertilizer, there's no irrigation, there's no ploughing to release carbon, you know, in the production of your food. There's no food miles on that food then as well, if you're fully happy with it. Or are you giving all that a free pass?
No, that's a good point.
Have you seen soybean being produced?
I have. Now, soybean is a very interesting question because 90% of the soybean that's produced is used for animal feed.
What about the other 10% is used to produce food for humans?
I felt the conversation was more like a competition than it was a real attempt to try to understand the needs of both communities and work towards a realistic solution.
When you feed that 90%, you're not getting all those calories, you know, because the vast majority of it is converted to manure and slurry that goes into our rivers.
No, it doesn't go into our rivers.
It does?
Well, that'd be very wasteful and to be very irresponsible, and we'd have a huge legal problem in this country. So no,
back to the 10% of the soybean.
What do you work at?
I'm a trainer in sustainability issues.
And you're just after saying that all our manure goes into the rivers?
I didn't say all the manure goes into the rivers. No, I'm not going to take that back. No, because
you said that all our manure goes into the rivers.
The leading problem with water quality in Ireland is nutrient.
I take huge issue with that.
Okay.
I'm not going to accept that comment. You can either take that comment back or...
Well, let me qualify it then.
You can't qualify that comment.
Well, let me just let me say.
No, you can't qualify that comment in any way, shape or form. I spent hundreds of thousands of euros on my farm storing manure to use as a fertiliser.
Yeah.
I don't let any of it into the river. I had a huge difference of opinion with James on the manure issue. We have a stream flowing right through the middle of our farm, and we spent a lot of money protecting that and ensuring that everything is done right around that stream. Not something that I would condone or countenance.
You're allowed to spray it on the land.
No, I don't spray it. I spread it with a low-emission slurry spreading system at a very low rate on the ground when the grass is growing in the right season of the year to grow grass to be used as a fertiliser.
Yeah.
I do not let it into the river or pump it into the river.
It's an absolute myth that no farmer nutrients.
You just said all the manure goes into the river.
I take back all. It's not. It's not all. Enough nutrients, I'm not splitting hairs, the leading cause of water quality problems in Ireland is nitrogen and phosphates in the water. That's coming from Irish agriculture.
And it's coming from urban wastewater treatment plants that aren't up to scratch as well.
He knows very well about offload of nutrients off his farm because that's one of the major conditions that the Department of Agriculture is imposing on farmers. So he was sensitive to the topic.
Yeah. And that's why I'd find it so insulting when you'd say that we pump the manure down the rivers.
I don't think I said that farmers are pumping slurry into rivers.
Manure is what you said, yeah. Oh, it did get me angry, yeah. I didn't like being accused of polluting Irish rivers. There are millions of euros spent in Irish agriculture on maintaining its clean green image and using that manure as a fertiliser and using it in the fields to grow grass or crops profitably and properly. Finally, has today made you think any differently?
So what I got from today was that you want to see the people in rural Ireland protected, you want to see people making income in rural Ireland, and you want to see communities growing. Personally, I think that can happen with more of a transition to plant-based foods if farmers could be supported in that transition.
I suppose from my point of view, I suppose we have to be very aware of how we explain what we do on farm and explain what happens in rural Ireland to people in urban areas and people with a different point of view. I'm comfortable with the animal welfare on the farm, and I'm comfortable with farming animals, and I'm comfortable with the system of production on our farm. But it's just about how we get that message out there to the general public. I suppose I've learned a lot that there is a lot of misinformation out there, and we just need to get that explained very well.
I think it's unfortunate you chose to say that. You know, because an awful lot of the misinformation is coming from the farming community still.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a lot of mistruths out there, and it's very important for farmers to get out there and tell our story and keep people informed on what's happening in rural Ireland.
It's vitally important to sit down with people who have opposing views in order to address the wicked challenges that we're facing today.